Can you believe it? The corona thing got everybody messed up, shook up. And Jay Electronica has actually released, it's not just a track list, it actually came out. Jay Electronica has a release. I wish I had his job. I mean, for real, how many years he's been on Rock Nation? What do you do? I'll be like, man, what is it that you do? You've been, I mean, he's got the greatest PR in the world. They listed this man like the world's greatest rapper, and I'm like, what song, you know, that we could say signifies that? What album? Where's his body of work? He didn't need it. People like, he's the greatest rapper ever. I'm like, wow. Then I look around, and you got Jay. You know, because Jay's out here like, instead of me working on a whole album, I'll just work with you. So, on the song called The Flux Capacitor, of course, you know that's a reference to Back to the Future. Now, Jay raps on the verse addressing the whole Roger Goodell situation. That's how Jay talked to people. He got to address it in a song. So, of course, he comes in there. Why would I sell out? I'm already rich. Doesn't make sense. Got more money than Goodell. The whole NFL bench. Did it one hand like Odell. Handcuffed to a jail. I would have stayed on the sidelines if they're going to tackle the it out of me. Or something like that, he said. Oh, no, he said tackle themselves, I think. So, what he's saying is, why would he sell out if he's already rich? That doesn't make any sense. Well, I'm going to tell you why, Jay. It's for relationships. What do rich people want more than anything? To be richer. They want to stay richer. They want to stay relevant. They want wealth. They want to be in that umbrella. And you fit that status quo. So it makes a lot of sense. Yes, you have more money than Roger Goodell, but Goodell has more power than you. And you're just want some of that power. You did it one hand like Odell, handcuffed to a jail. The jail that you handcuffed yourself into is the jail you put yourself into. Once again, the jail that you're handcuffed to is the jail you basically signed up for. You put yourself in handcuffs because you handcuffed yourself to the NFL. And on the other side, you handcuffed yourself to the movement, to being about people in this environment. And he basically tackles Kaepernick and everybody else saying, I would have stayed on the sidelines if y'all could tackle this it themselves. If they were going to tackle this it themselves. Meaning the NFL, meaning the other leaders or whatever, that he would have just stayed on the sideline if they was going to tackle all this themselves. I would have just stayed on the sideline. Now, let's break down the reasons Jay is playing victim. Jay, what have your movement solved? What progress was made? There have been no acknowledgement really of anything except for a Super Bowl towards that 20-second ad that went through that showed something about police block violence on minors or unarmed blacks. That's what you wanted. That was your accomplishment. That was the deal you made to get a commercial that's gonna play one time during the Super Bowl and we're never gonna see it again. Heck of a deal. Thanks, Jay. We needed that. I don't know what we would have did without that. No, Jay. Let's talk about what your big move did here in Chicago. Right? You or your representatives at Rock Nation said you guys were going to make donations around Chicago with this impact change in the NFL. And you said, well, I wouldn't say you, whoever the representative at Rock Nation said that they were going to give out $200,000 checks to charities in Chicago. And your empowering Chicago, these checks that you were giving out to these charities, you guys decided that the two charities that you were giving it to, and you had Vic Mensa, Meek Mill, and what's that other person, Megan Trainor, that the Crushers Club would get it, and the BBF, the Better Boys Foundation. And yet, y'all made a statement that Rock Nation personally vetted these two charities. Because I was at these meetings that they held where all of these charity representatives, people who represented into the community, who were out there doing what they're supposed to do in the community, hands-on. Right? And you decide to donate money to a woman who thought that cutting off black boys' dreads, braids, was a great way. Sally Hazelgrove comes through showing photos of her cutting black boys' hair. A known Trump supporter said that's the way to rid gang-affiliated youth. Sometimes they gotta detach themselves from it. Cutting that hair is part of it. Y'all vetted this woman. That's some vetting work, isn't it? Now, I'm not gonna say it's a bad organization, because I don't know that. But what I do know is the ownership and the people that run it is like that. And the places and the people I've talked to in those foundations who was already organized and needed just a little of assistance, and that money could have really done some things in that community, could have really done something with the people that are helping people in the target areas, why we didn't highlight them? Why we choose to highlight these two? And definitely, who chose the Crushers Club? So it becomes political, Jay. So maybe you should have sat on the sidelines. That's probably a good and best bet. You should have stayed on the sidelines. This wasn't for you to get involved in. Because you hurt your status quo with the people. And now, I don't know how they're going to, you know how we are. We're very forgiving people. I don't know how they're going to view it, but it was the first time ever people saw the Jay-Z that other people were talking about, that they didn't want to believe. Because they'd be, no, man, not Hove. This was the first time they saw the Jay-Z that everyone else was talking about. First time. It's the first time for everything, but this was the first time. They saw it. So, all I can say is this, man. Use your own eyes, people. Don't let celebrity and stardom get your head confused and wrap yourself around it. So, the verse that he said is just Jay-Z's way of addressing it and trying to use a broad Jay-Z stroke over the actual facts while he avoids all questions. Because if you're not available to take the real questions from the real people and just stay silent, then they've bought your voice. You're not a boss. You're owned. No matter how much money they give you, you're owned. Until you know the difference between own and owned, we will always be in this predicament. And that's it. Don't forget, you can always support the page by hitting up the Cash App. I am Carcino on the Cash App, Karceno. And for everyone else out there, definitely hit up the Patreon. The name's Carcino for life on the Patreon. Hey, I can tell you guys is thank you. It's been going down. I know you guys love the new posts I put out, reading and actually visually seeing the photos. And we got more to come. We just the beginning, man. I told you, this is all new to everybody. So, believe me, we got a lot in store. A lot in store. I'm out.